as well, with absolutely no work. Dane Factor 160, Grandioso 260, and Modern Prospect is 100-1. So Century Star is the favourite. He's got out a little bit, but that's owing to the fact that a few have tightened the betting, with V Can coming down about 4 points. Best for All solid, Always Wins tightened a fraction. Medicor's only at a half point. The longer price movers for Winning Boy. He was well over 33-1 earlier today. Just confirm this. Yes, actually he got out to 50s in the betting, Winning Boy, and he opens up at $140. Body weights, Acrobatic 1042, up a little bit. The major ones, Winning Boy shed a lot of weight in 2 days. He's down 33 pounds. He weighs in at 1076 today. The others in double figures, Medicor number 12, he's down 10 pounds. And Modern Prospect is down 13 pounds. So a few interesting notes around Winning Boy. He's down 33 pounds in 2 days, and he's down 40 points in the betting. Tony Millard's horse. He was well beaten first up. Obviously in his best form, he would be well placed. He has won on good yielding in the past, Winning Boy.
Yeah, he pulled up lame after that run, Darren, and hopefully, obviously, well, he's got to pass all the checks here today, but did have excuses for finishing a long way back. Of course, the 1400 metres has been his real pet trip. This is the Pocoy Cup, second billing to the International Cup Trial, which is the next event. But this is a good lead-up race for it. Certainly quite a few chances. One of the more interesting runners is that one on screen at the moment, Helene Momentum. He has trialled since his only start, which came over the 1,000 metres, and didn't look quite ready for that run, but he has picked up in his work since then, and his overseas form is definitely good enough to suggest that he can be right in the finish here. Interesting to get Mark's views on him, because based on his overseas form, if you feel that he's acclimatised or improved a fair bit from his last run, Mark, then he definitely is one to strongly consider here.
I can't say I am overly impressed with him. He still doesn't look particularly well in his coat. He still doesn't really take the eye. What he does do, though, is look very fit. He looks extremely fit and ready to run his race here today, and I would have thought the trip was going to be far more suitable for him. It's just his coat that I'm worried about. He just doesn't look particularly well in it.
Well, the other plus with Helene Momentum, his wins in Australia are on wet ground as well, between 12 and 1,600 metres. Here's the horse that's come for a slide in the betting, Winning Boy. Second up, as Clint mentioned, he did pull up lame at his first up run, but he did go out at 90-1 for his first run of the season. They trialled him about 3 weeks later. Haven't seen much of him since. His form late last season was really starting to deteriorate at the top level.
Well, he must go more and must move very closely in front and knock his joints, I should think, because he's got a fair pair of boots on in front. We don't see too many horses running in boots. It's something that we keep primarily for the jumpers. Back at home, it just helps for a little bit like wearing shin pads at football, I suppose. And but this horse does look well. He looks fit. He looks pretty much back on song. He wouldn't be the most surprise winner for me in this race.
Okay, next one along, Toy Quest. I liked his recent trial, and I think his work's picked up a lot since his first up run in Hong Kong. 5.2 he was backed into on debut. He's also in the he's not quite as much in the market here today at 16-1, but I thought his work was a lot better, Mark, and I was interested in him today. I thought he could run a much better race.
Nice barrier trial, I quite agree with you. Looks very fit and well in himself. Can't see too much wrong with him. Just wonder whether he's going to be a horse who's going to take a little bit of time to acclimatise, that's all. I can't see anything wrong with him at all, though. But I felt happy enough with him first time as well.
He got off the mark really well in Australia, actually. He didn't miss a place there at his 6 starts. And he had very good form around 1,400 metres, the distance of today's race. Century Star, he loves the 1,400 metres as well. The sting out of the ground will enhance his prospects. He's been trialling the house down. If he can pick up where he left off last season, he'd be a worthy favourite.
He certainly would be a very worthy favourite. Looks to have done enough work. He looks pretty hard and fit. He's performed well fresh before. I think he looks as though he's the part here. I think he has to be kept safe by anybody and everybody.
okay. V-Can has come in for a little, well, shortened up due to Gary Young's double already today. Never really known as a 1400-metre horse, even though he has won over the trip. He's drawn awkwardly in gate 13 today. That's the worry for me. If he does go forward, may have to work a little bit too hard. That's a slight concern, and I don't think he's in the best form this season.
No, I quite agree with you. V-Can, his coat's just broken as well. Don't think that's going to be exactly helping him. He looks okay, but I'm always susceptible when a horse is his coat is broken, and his has since his last run. So I thought he had a bit of a chance. I'm not anywhere near so keen now.
At that price, I'll just leave him alone, V-Can, from barrier 13. A few things against him. Industrial Pride stepping up to 1400 metres now. They tried it once late last season and he was beaten out of sight. He just hasn't run a decent race here as yet.
No, I don't like Industrial Pride. He looks big too. Really not taken by him in the slightest. I want to give him a wide barrier. A wide wide barrier.
He has.
He's got 14. Anyway.
Yeah, he's got. I'm going to say that as well. I don't like him.
You do the barrier draws as well, do you?
Triumphant Master in poor form. Really couldn't fancy him here based on what he's done so far this season. I think he can be ruled out.
No, I couldn't like him either. He looks fairly well and straightened himself, but his form isn't there to be found. And there are definitely others that look as good, if not better, in the paddock. So, no, another one I want to give a wide berth to. Berth,
yes. Yeah, no interest in Triumphant Master now. Thought he might have come into play that night at Happy Valley on the wet track. But his form overseas on wet going was okay. That's for all. I think he's far better placed here coming back in distance over the 1400 metres. They led up over the mile. He knocked up, had ridden with a sit first up. He's a fairly impressive horse. He acted on softer going last season over this trip. I think he's got a big chance.
Yeah, I think he's got a big chance too. I think he looks better today than he has done for quite some time. I thought he looked a bit light up until now. I'm happier that he looks to be strengthening up with his work. So for me, Best for All can have another chance here today.
Yeah, well, this is his real pet trip. I didn't think that he found. I thought he just was found wanting over the mile last time, and the move back to the 1400, you'd think it was a bonus. He was one.
請各位注意，第7場獲得最佳外觀獎係1號馬豔陽天，負責料理呢匹馬嘅馬房助理係林鑑全軍。
Ladies and gentlemen, the prize for the stables assistant responsible for the best turned out horse in race 7 has been awarded to Lam Kam Chun, stables assistant of horse number 1, Acrobatic.
Very much on his toe, but he looked to be in pretty reasonable condition. Just not totally won over by him.
If there's one horse we do need your expert opinion from the paddock, it's on this one, Mark Always Win, who goes into this with no work at all.
Right, well, you wouldn't know he hasn't had any work, Darren. He looked awful in his coat. I mean, really does look dreadful. And he is performing to be very fresh and well in himself. Bandaged up in front, he's got a lot of character to him. I should think, looking at him, he's been doing a lot of swimming because his coat is terrible. But he doesn't look that unfit. He's certainly not carrying too much belly on him.
No, I think ability-wise, there's no doubt he'd be one of the best here, but just that preparation's a slight concern for me. Grandiose, so just not in great form lately. He's not getting beaten by any great distances, but he's never looming as a winning threat in a lot of his races either. He's well weighted, but on his last couple of runs, I find it hard to make a case for him today.
He's reasonably fit and well in himself, just a bit warm. He doesn't look at his absolute best in his coat. I've seen him sparkle a little bit more than this. I would have said he was very much the second string of Jeff Lane's too in this. So I've got a lot more time for Best for All.
Whatever Craig was looking for in the main, he eventually found it. They move out, he's 25 to 1. We've got Modern Prospect directly behind him. We've just lost him out of shot now, a Modern Prospect, but I would assume he's the only other one that we need to look at here. Raced as the Big Rig down in New Zealand, where he won 2 out of 6 over this distance of 1400 metres. He only trialled the other morning behind Choice and Chance. We didn't really get to have a good look at him. He was out the back and stayed there.
Yeah, Modern Prospect, nice type of horse. Looks fairly fit and well, actually, Darren. Can't see too much wrong with him at all. but it just could possibly looks plenty light enough for his first up effort, so it may just be that he's going to need a little bit more time to settle in yet.
Dane Factor would really prefer further than the 1400 metres, and his form this season hasn't been very inspiring. He's had the 3 runs and finished no closer than 6 lengths to the winner, so he may just need a little bit more relief in the handicap.
Yep, I think that Dane Factor is coming right though. He looks better than he has done. He looks perfectly okay in himself here today. I would envisage a better run from him. Drawn well in gate 5. Certainly expect him to go better than he has done.
Okay, he does need to improve a bit. Beaten half a dozen last time in similar class behind Farrell. Medic Core, who's got the best of the draws. Gate 1 was beaten in nose first up over this distance. He recouped that loss at his next up when he beat Horoscope by a nose. He really should enjoy the run of the race.
Yeah, looks to be in good order too. Nothing wrong with Medic Core. Looks perfectly fit and well in himself. I think he's got the ideal barrier to make full use of it. He won't be too far off in the run. I think he's one of the leading players.
Good form, a good course and distance form, hasn't he? And from that barrier, I think you leave him out at your peril. The debutant Modern Prospect, just a note that Simon Yin will carry 114. He had a trial very recently, didn't show him anything at all. He's had a very light prep and he can be ruled out. He's 100 to 1 in the right price.
Very much so. Very much. I thought I'd already spoken about Modern Prospect.
Yeah, I went off a bit too early.
Oh, did you?
I went off at the 800 with him.
Oh,
You went with Thistlejade.
you led me up the garden path. Well, anyway, we're not interested. Not for me either. Right, from the paddock, it's fairly clear cut here. 5 Century Star on top from 9 Best for All and 12 Medic Core. I wouldn't totally pen the 3-horse Winning Boy. I think he looks to be in reasonable order too. But 5, 9 and 12.
Okay, 5, 9 and 12 there from Mark, and well found in the market Century Star, who has pretty much firmed or held. Oh no, he's just drifted slightly, 3.7. He's been at a few different prices, but anyway, Darren, I thought he would be the one to beat. What about you?
Yeah, I had it exactly as the paddock, really, and on form. I think that's the way to go. Century Star is really the find of the previous season. A little bit of the sting out of the ground here today. Won't go against him. It's a Century Star to beat 9 Best for All. I think he's much better placed coming back to this distance today. And Medic Core should have the run of the race. So I'd be very surprised if you couldn't get the Quinella in those 3, 5, 9 and 12.
Okay, well, we've spoke about a lot of the positives with Century Star. I'm going with him. I think he's the best bet of the day, but just another one that we haven't mentioned. I think Fresh and first up is also another bonus for Century Star. Thought he would win. Medic Core, I had to give a strong chance. He's a couple of wins, 3 seconds from 7 starts over the trip. He's won and been beaten within a sort of a nose on his 2 starts this season over the 1400 metres. Fewer and better form. He should get a lovely run from gate 1, and I think he'll be right in the finish. And Toy Quest was the other one, just basically on his work. He really picked up after his last or his only start in Hong Kong, which was over the 1200 metres. He finished about 7 lengths behind Kimberley Mines when he finished 10th. But since then, his work has picked up. He trialled recently on the grass. He went very well in that, and I think a much better run from Quest today is in order. Keep an eye out for Helene Momentum. He is holding steady in the market. He too trialled quite well, I think, and I'm not 100% sure, but I'm reasonably sure he also trialled in blinkers, but they're not applied today. But he did go a little bit better with that gear on in the trial. Apart from that, well, Best for All is one of the logical picks in the race, really, with his solid form over the 1400 metres. He really won impressively first up this season over the course and distance when jumping less than a 6-4 favourite. And since then, over the mile, just looked a little bit flat when finishing 3 lengths adrift of Celebration. But he's a quality horse and still really, well, he's only had the 6 starts, having won a couple of those and finished second on 3 occasions. He's done very little wrong, so it does look to be a promising horse for the future for the Jeff Lane stable, who, of course, have already had a winner here today with Sugar and Spice. There's Triumph Master on screen. He's been disappointing. He's backing up relatively quickly. He ran last week over the mile here at Sha Tin and never really got into contention. There is a little bit of support for number 2, Helene Momentum, is just coming in slightly in the betting, as is pretty much Century Star, 36.50. I think he started around $40 mark. I didn't write them down, but I'm going on memory, but it was about that price anyway. I think he's come in around about half a point.
Don't do that to him, it'll wind him up. You can get his mind on the wrong job before he's calling.
I might pinch one of them.
Yep.
Right way there.
Absolutely. It's what keeps me going through the afternoon. Not only can John Size train horses well, his wife knows how to look after everybody else. Wonderful. Thank you very much indeed.
After the punters here with Century Star.
No, I think there's every chance here of coming up with the goods. As you say, there's been a fair amount of money about for 1 or 2 other horses here as well, particularly the 12 Medic Core. $43 now. That's in a full point, and well, obviously pretty well supported for a well-drawn horse. I think this is a good-looking sort of race. I think we'll certainly learn a lot from this, not only today, but for the future as well. After this, we'll be getting into the International Cup Trial. That looks to be a very interesting race indeed. Another one of those troublesome ones, though. Wonder where the pace is going to come from there. Well, you can see there's about half in. I don't think we need dwell on it too much longer. It'll be interesting to see how this horse goes. The Ivan Allen trained always win. No amount of track work around. No, it doesn't look great in his coat, but he doesn't look as big as he might. He could be a very interesting runner.
Hasn't been much money for him. He's got out, if anything, 2 points when we opened the betting. Acrobatic and Best for All moving in, but the best back runner has been Medic Core. Number 12, Felix Kutzi's ride. He's down to 4.1. Century Star still the favourite, though, at 3.6. Medic Core loads up. Industrial Pride is the last for the running of the Pokoi Cup. Presentation to follow. Ready now. Set. Racing. Oh, 2 dawdlers out of the gate, Industrial Pride and Acrobatic. Grandioso, no speed taken back. Whiteout V can jump well, so did Helene Momentum. Dane Factor being more prominently ridden going forward, and Medic Core holds a spot on the rails. Then Toy Quest getting underneath Best for All. Winning Boy ridden up on the rails. From Always Win, then Triumphant Master, the favourite Century Star. A length further back to Modern Prospect, and the last 3 inside to out, Acrobatic, Industrial Pride and Grandioso.